I think bullying is necessary to do something big in your life. I realize today, the world we're living in, if you don't tell the world who you are, if you don't tell the camera of the world who you are, the world's gonna tell the world who you are. You can't do it if you don't have the clear purpose. If you have it and it's crystal clear and you're determined that you're not willing to live your life without this becoming a reality, go do it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 on Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you as well. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to stand up for yourself, think like a gangster, and play to your strengths with Patrick Bet-David and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Stand up for yourself.
There's a part of me that I think bullying is necessary to do something big in your life. I really believe that. I know it's the opposite right now. And I watch my kids. The other day I was at the mall. My boys are here outside with Mario, but I was at the mall and I saw this one bigger kid started bullying Tico. Mm-hmm. So he starts bullying Tico, and I'm like, Tico looks at me and he says, Daddy, what do I do? I said, what do you want to do? You're going to let him bully you? Because you know what rules we live by in our family. We lead, we respect, we improve, we love. We don't bully, and we don't get bullied. Is he bullying you? Yes. I said, you're going to let him bully you? No. He went back and they got into it. And I said, buddy, you got to stand up for yourself. And so what if that wasn't there? What if that doesn't happen to you and I? What if, you don't learn somebody taking shots at you? You don't experience the ability of having a wit. Witty people are people that sometimes they had a lot of shots being taken at them, so you have to figure out a way to be quick and come back. And so, yeah, I think it was a positive thing.
Rule #2, think like a gangster.
If we lived in a different time, maybe if we went back, let's say 40, 50 years, would Patrick had been a gangster?
I think if a Michael Francis was a father figure type, probably, and I would have probably done a pretty good job at it.
Fascinating.
Yeah. If I had a father figure like a Michael or a Sonny or one of those guys, most likely.
Gotcha. Do you think like a gangster at times?
You have to. There's no question about it. In the business world?
Sure.
Oh, you have to think that way.
Interesting.
Oh, you have to, especially in the world of, look, we're friends, we may talk here, but within your world, the bigger you get, there's a lot of people that are not happy about your brand getting bigger.
Sure.
You're opening up more gyms. This is not exciting to a lot of other people that own gyms. It's not even exciting to somebody that runs a different model when it comes down to franchising.
Right.
So you're not helping people, it's helping competitors. You're hurting them.
True.
And when it comes down to it, if it's between your 5 locations versus my 5 locations, they are going to be competitive. So you get in the world of business being everybody wants to help, everybody's this, and then you realize there's a part of it that some of the people would take their side over you any day.
Rule #3, play to your strengths.
How were you able to, in spite of, being freshly married, in spite of all the things going on, in spite of the market crashing and all types of stuff, were able to say, in these circumstances, I still want to open my own business?
Yeah, so I think you have to also know yourself very well. Yeah. Because for me,
self-awareness.
Absolutely. But I'm talking about from a different side. So for example, think about it how many, let's go through 5 presidents. Cool. Let's pick 5 presidents and you tell me which of their styles you relate to the most.
Okay.
You ready? Just kind of think about it yourself. Cool. And we're talking about you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so Reagan used humor to win people over.
Yeah.
Okay? Humor is what he told stories and he used humor. John F. Kennedy was very charming and he used this context. He had charisma, he was charming, good looking. So people kind of saw him and said, I just like this guy, right? Yeah. So Reagan humor, JFK was charm, okay? Clinton seemed like he cared for you. So he was a good listener. You're like, oh my gosh. Empathetic is a good word, sympathetic, okay. Yeah. Trump is a bully. You bully him, he's gonna come at you 100%. You don't push that guy around, right?
Yeah.
So far we have what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different presidents, and let's add another one. Okay, and Obama spoke about dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, so he knew how to get us to
inspire,
okay? So you got humor, You got charm and charisma. You got I care, sympathetic, empathetic. You got you're not going to push me around. I'm going to stand up because I'm a man's man. And you got, listen, what if one day we can dream and we can do this?
Yeah.
Who do you relate to the most?
Inspiring.
Okay, so check this out.
Yeah.
How many people relate to him? Not everybody.
Yeah.
So how many people relate to Trump? Not everybody.
Yeah.
How many people relate to Reagan? Not everybody.
Yeah.
Or Clinton or JFK. It's irrelevant. It's finding out which one is you. And then if you find your style, and if you can find your style and can position yourself in areas where your style and personality is able to really grow and magnify, then play offense.
Rule number 4, join the Army.
I graduate high school. I'm going to Glendale Community College. One night, I run out of money. I asked my sister to let me live with her. So one night, this was in Encino, California, Burbank Boulevard, and Havenhurst. I'm in her apartment. She has a studio. It's not even a one bedroom. I'm sleeping on the floor. The jacuzzi downstairs, I had like 8 friends downstairs at the jacuzzi. And we were drinking a little bit. We were contributing to the stock of vodka around the world that night. And next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, just bad situation. And the management comes, wants to evict my sister. And I go to sleep. I don't make it to my job in the morning. So I get fired by Burger King, which out of all the jobs in the world, if you're gonna get fired from one of them, Burger King's not a bad one to get fired from. So I get fired, and then that morning when I go downstairs to go to my car so I can make it to work and go to school, they stole my car, the 1983 Toyota Corolla that 6 months later we found it in Tijuana when I got a police report that the car ended up being in Tijuana. So that day, I called my dad at 10 o'clock in the morning when I woke up, and the car wasn't there. I said, hey, Dad, I need you to take me to the recruiting station because I'm joining the Army. I didn't call a friend. I didn't call my girlfriends. I didn't call anybody. I just said, and my dad hung up, came, picked me up. He said, that's exactly where you need to go. I went to the recruiting station. I said, if you can get me a job that I leave tomorrow, I'll join today. If I need to wait 3 to 6 months, I'm not joining the Army. They gave me a Hummer mechanic position. 4 weeks later, I was in the Army.
Wow.
Yep.
How long did you stay in the Army?
2.5 years. They had a delayed entry program at the time that was 2.5 year program. I think I got $25,000 of GI Bill that they were given at the time. But yeah, I went to the Army 2.5 years. Just one of the best decisions I ever made in my life is joining the Army.
Why is that?
You had to do laundry on your own. You had to fold your clothes. You had to clean. The expectation was higher. You had to wake up early. You worked 100 hours a week. I'm in an environment that people are from Mississippi, Alabama, North Dakota, South Dakota. They've never met an Iranian before, so it taught me to learn culture. I learned about other cities, other states. I learned how to handle people that had a lack of education about Iran and stereotypes, and I had to learn how to overcome that and communicate that with them. Just a lot of good skills, a lot of good things that military offered, lots of them.
If you want to have more motivation, self-love, and confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The link to join are in the description below.
The people who win work the hardest because they love what they do.
What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms.
A lot of the anxiety that we feel is actually due to using words that are not defined very well.
Rule number 5, read books.
I'll give you a funny story here. My teacher in Glendale High School, if you're listening and you're from Glendale and you went to Glendale High School, you need to go and ask if anybody there knew a teacher named Mrs. Collins. Okay, Miss Collins. My gosh, this woman gave me nightmares. We used to read 2 books. That was Then, This Is Now, and the other one was Of Mice of Men. I don't know if you guys read it as well when you were in high school. Of Mice of Men was the Lenny, he would pet the rabbit and it would kill him because he was so strong. And so I took this class, and there was a girl sitting in front of me. Her name was Carmen. She was one of the cheerleaders. And I would try to hide in front of this girl so Miss Collins wouldn't see me. And she would say, Patrick, read the next paragraph. Oh my gosh. It was like the most embarrassing. And think about it this way. The entire day when I'd go to school, I had one dread. You know what it was? 6th period, Miss Collins is going to ask me to read in front of my 30 peers, right? So I hated reading. I couldn't stand it. I was a bad speller, the whole 9. So I go in the Army. For me, it was a math class. When I was in the military, I'd get bored. I'd go buy a math analysis book and I'd do formulas because math to me was very interesting because you're figuring life out. You're figuring out a formula, and everything in life is math. If you look around everything in this room, this is purely a mathematical setup room, right? And so all of a sudden I get out of the Army. My sister recommends me the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And my first boss from Bally's recommends me How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. And then I read those two, and then somebody recommended me Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Those were my first 3 books. And then I said, you have got to be kidding me. I felt like I found a secret.
Rule number 6, have a crystal clear purpose.
For a lot of people, sometimes they put themselves in positions that are not areas of strength. So if you want to do what I do, and I say, well, I want to go do what this guy did, you better have your core values, principles, vision, purpose so crystal clear like I had in 09, because before I was going to do this, 6 months prior to that, I had a meeting with a man named George Will, who was an advisor to 2 different presidents before. And we sat down and we had a conversation at Miramar Hotel. A friend of mine introduced me to a man named Larry Arnn and Larry Greenfield and Pat Boone and all these guys. John Voight, you may know John Voight, the actor, father of Angelina Jolie. So I'm with these guys. And I asked him, I said, look, I'm trying to figure out what my next move is. And it can't be just money, because money's too easy to make. This is America. What is my next move? So they said, why don't you go study why immigrants came to America? And that's what I did. Post that got into my blood and my veins and my bones, and I couldn't help myself. Once that became real, then from there it was very natural for me to say, look, if I sink, I'm okay. I'm gonna swim, but if I lose it all, I'm totally fine with that. So one cannot make that decision that blatantly, that reckless that you may call it. I may not call it reckless, but to you may be reckless. You can't do it if you don't have the clear purpose. If you have it and it's crystal clear and you're determined that you're not willing to live your life without this becoming a reality, go do it.
Rule number 7, experience hell.
I was in the Army. I get out of the Army. People ask me, what's the biggest difference when you were in the Army and you got out? You have a different lens. I can't describe it. Like, listen, a blind person cannot see what somebody with vision can see, right? At the same time, Richard Turner, whom I interviewed, who's a #1 card mechanic in the world, who's been blind since he was 9 years old, because one day he's in school, he's reading a book, he can't see anything here. The only thing he can see is here. And this guy, all of a sudden, is fully blind. He becomes a #1 card mechanic in the world. I said, what do you have that I don't have? He says, I feel everything you're doing. I feel the movements. I feel your eyebrows. I feel everything that's moving. I feel that left hand you just moved right now. I feel that guy over there just moved. I feel he just picked up his leg. His pants just did this. The camera guy just put his arm down. That guy just did this. You don't have that luxury. You and I will never have that, right? We are never going to have that. The only reason he has that's 20 years of experience of being blind. We have a certain experience of hell. When you experience hell, things slow down. You just kind of look around and everything's slow. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be all right. That's not that big of a deal. It just happened. Game, relax, come back, let's strategize. Everything becomes slower when you have experienced a lot of tragedy, right? Everything. And that chip allows you to say, I don't know why we're afraid of this, not a big deal. This person's not that intimidating, it's okay. We don't need to be afraid of this. Guys, we're gonna be able to overcome this. It brings a certain level of poise, confidence to the crew that you're running with. You cannot go to a conference and gain that. You can only gain that from being in hell and back. And so if you haven't had that, you got to almost put yourself in certain situations to experience hell. If you don't put yourself in those types of situations, no conference in the world is ever going to give that to you.
Rule number 8, learn sales.
My friends were graduating from USC, UCLA, and they were getting a $40,000 a year salary after going to school, after spending $150 grand on college, and I'm working at Bally's, and I had made $5,000 in a month. And I said, wait a minute. My friends spent $150,000 to go to college. I don't have a degree, and I just made $5,000 in a month? Maybe the most important skill set to make money in America is sales. And by the way, step number 1 to creating wealth is learning how to sell. Before you hang the video and change it and go to another video, hear me out and be able to disagree with me and say, Pat, I don't agree with you. Hear me out here. In every single family, there's political matters. Yes? You probably had some political matters. When somebody dies, who's going to get this, who's going to get that? There's always political matters. You know who typically wins? The one who knows how to sell. You know who typically dates and marries that beautiful girl that every guy wanted to be with? The guy that knows how to sell. That's simple. You know, at your job, have you ever had anybody that got a promotion over you that wasn't qualified, but they got it over you? You know why? Because they know how to sell. And you don't know how to sell. And if you don't know how to sell, your salary's at 58, She's at 79. You think it's important you learn how to sell. Maybe it's important learning how to sell.
Rule number 9, respect others.
How did you work under somebody for so long?
How did I work on? I'm actually a very coachable guy, believe it or not.
Interesting.
I'm very coachable. And so, like, let me give you, yesterday.
But submissive though.
I'm very submissive.
Okay,
very,
interesting.
Very loyal, very submissive, very coachable. And let me explain to you what I mean by this. So our office started a soccer league. No, not a soccer league, we're part of a soccer league. I don't know what the league is called, but we're part of a soccer league, okay? So they asked me to participate, okay? And I've never played organized soccer before, but I said, no problem, I like the game, I know how to play a little bit. So I said, okay, let's play. So I got involved.
Yeah.
There are at least 5 players on the team that are better than me. There's one guy that's the absolute alpha on the soccer field. When he talks, I'm the student, but he's one of my employees. And he's not even one of my executives or one of my directors. He's just one of my employees. He's a guy that's an analyst. But if he's giving me advice about soccer, I'm the student. It doesn't matter if I'm a CEO, my wealth, my following, all that stuff's out the door. So I have a lot of understanding. Like, listen, every night when we pray or when I'm talking to my boys, there's a few things I ask them. I say, listen, what are the 4 things that we do as a family? And they'll say, lead, respect, improve, love. Lead, respect, improve, love. Lead in every situation you're in, improve because it's the only thing that's going to give you peace of mind. Respect, because everybody has something to teach you. Respect. So the respect element is, I can always talk to somebody who's better than me in an area. I'm all in. Tell me what you. So I got to trust you. I got to respect you. You got to respect me. The part that I have a challenge with is if you manipulate or play games, I'm your number 1 enemy.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is control the narrative.
I realize today the world we're living in. If you don't tell the world who you are, if you don't tell the camera, the world who you are, the world's going to tell the world who you are. So you have 2 choices. So a lot of people that say, well, I'm a private guy. No problem. Stay private. Let the world tell everybody who you are. Or you can get in front of the camera and say, this is who I am.
So you're saying control the narrative.
You have to, because if you don't, no one really knows who you are. See, I can watch a couple videos of you, and you pop up, and you comment on Instagram, and I go up and I say, let me see this guy. And I say, wow, this guy communicates very well. Petros, that's an Armenian name. Is he Yerevanci? Is he Parska? Is he Beirutai? What is this guy? Where is he from? How did he make his money? And then now I come to your place, I see this location that you have. Beautiful, very detailed. July 22nd, baby, you are. So you're one of these perfectionist guys, structure, organized. You got everything situated. So then I'm intrigued by you. But say you don't do that. I don't know who you are. All I'm going to take is those 3 people that I used to work with who didn't like you. They'll say, you never want to work with Petros. Let me tell you who he really is. Then they have more influence than these guys.
Gotcha.
So you have to control the narrative.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Patrick on how to drop the addiction that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. How will you control the narrative this week? Number 2, what is your crystal clear purpose? And number 3, where do you need to start thinking like a gangster? And if you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
You didn't have that 1 year, you didn't have sex until you made $1 million, or you
17 months.
Promise yourself. Okay, yeah. Can you tell us more about
absolutely. that? And here's, oh my gosh, this is so freaking funny on the timing of the question. Yesterday, we drove by the street of the first time I had sex after 17 months, and I was telling my wife, I said, babe, probably not the person you want to tell the story to. I said, babe, you see that street right there? Right there in a Ford Focus was when this is the first time I'm actually saying this on any podcast. So here's what happened. So one day, I meet a guy, and he tells me the story about this other guy who went, he didn't have sex until he got married. Until he made his first $1 million. And so for me, it was like, dude, he's out of his mind. His penis probably fell off or something happened to this guy, right? There's something that probably happened to this guy. I said, no, I'm telling you, this is what this guy did. And then you start saying, yeah, this guy probably never had sex before. And he probably wasn't a player. He probably didn't have the time. He says, no, you don't understand. This. And he shows me the picture of this guy. I said, this is a good looking guy, nice body. Hey, you're telling me this guy? He said, yeah, this guy. I said, dang, this guy could do it, man. I got to figure something out here. So the point wasn't about not having sex. The point is about whatever you're an addict to. Because say you say to a guy that hasn't had sex for 2 years,
I'll do it.
To him, he's gonna be like, I'll do it, and it's not gonna do nothing to this guy. But you tell that guy who's played video games every year for 7 years, and you tell him go 17 months, To him, that's the sex where somebody else, it's not necessarily the sex thing. It's whatever you are addicted to that you have to drop.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Manny Koshpin, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I love challenging myself, so make sure you challenge yourself. Always have goals bigger than your dreams, but also be practical with your short-term goals.